the Scarletlolo cooking show. Welcome! Tofu is a bean curd and it's loved by many vegetarians as a good source of protein. It comes in blocks of varying softness, and today I'm using a firm one as the basis of this meal. I squeeze it between kitchen towels to remove the excess water and make it easier to fry. I then weigh it down, this time with a dish that I'm going to use to marinate it in. And then you let it sit for a while. Usually when you buy it, it's vacuum sealed with water to keep it fresh. It doesn't have much flavor in itself, and it's best marinated. I'm using a ginger and garlic marinade that I'd left over from a packet. I like to slice my tofu to about a half-inch thickness, 1 or 2 centimeters ideally. So the tofu is now marinating in the garlic ginger marinade, and I'm going to let it sit there for probably half an hour. Now for the mushrooms, I'm going to flake a bit of butter, so in total maybe a teaspoon per mushroom, and I'm going to grill them for about 30 minutes. And I'm going to put a little oil in the bottom of the baking tray. Just going to rub this around and then sit the mushrooms on top and let that goes in the oven for about 10 minutes now, and then I'm going to put the cheese on. In the meantime, I'm going to grate the Parmesan cheese for the Caesar salad. When I grate cheese, I usually do the whole chunk because I can put it in a Tupperware and use it another day, save me a little time. Be very careful with your fingers when you do this. To reduce waste, I wash and reuse packaging containers wherever possible, and it's great to have all the different sizes, although they will take up a lot of space in your cupboard. I've taken the salad from the salad spinner, and I'm going to chop it into 2 centimeter strips with a plastic knife. Because plastic knives won't make the edges of the salad go brown. If you cut lettuce with a stainless steel knife, the edges easily can go brown, but with a plastic knife, they won't. And for Caesar salad, I cut 2 to 3 centimeter strips. You can also add some boiled egg to the Caesar salad. The spring onions, I cut the ends off and I cut them into strips of the same length before bunching them up and then cutting them finely. Spring onion now go into the Caesar salad, and I'm now adding the dressing. Give the dressing a good shake before adding it into the Caesar salad. I use about 4 or 5 tablespoons of Caesar dressing for the salad. Probably a quarter of a bottle, and this bottle is 250 milliliters, so maybe 50 to 100 milliliter, depending on the size of the Caesar salad. I add the Parmesan cheese. I'm going to use a little more. Probably about half a Parmesan cheese, and that's a 200 gram cheese, so half of that should do. Now I'll give this a good mix through, but I won't add the croutons until last minute because otherwise they go soppy. And then I put it aside with the croutons. Now, you can make the croutons yourself quite easily. It's not very hard. You just chop bread into little squares and fry them with a bit of butter. Or you can bake croutons as well. And now it's back to the mushrooms. I've given the table a quick wipe, and now I'm
cutting the rind off the cheese. I'm now slicing the cheese to go onto the mushrooms. I'm going to go half and half, cheddar and Gouda. So I've zeroed my scales and 150 grams. So that's 50 grams of cheese per mushroom. I've just taken the mushrooms out of the grill and they're looking rather yummy. I'm going to take some of the liquid off, like so. Putting the cheese on, I'm putting a slice of cheddar onto each, and then some Gouda. Before putting it back into the grill, I'm going to add a little bit of paprika. Now I'm making the dessert, and it's going to be mango chopped into fine small pieces. You cut one direction and just sliding the knife along the skin without actually cutting through. Then you pop it out like a hedgehog and you cut the pieces off, sliding the knife along the skin. For the Sharon fruit, I cut off the brown bits and then I just chop it into fine cubes. Now is a good time to put the garlic bread in the oven because our guest is expected in 10 to 15 minutes. I had the sheet in the oven preheat before putting the garlic bread in. So I can now just slide the garlic bread on and put it in the oven. So this is my marinated tofu with ginger and garlic. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of oil to my pan and getting out the spatula, moving the oil around, letting it get nice and hot before I put the tofu in. Then you don't move it for the first 3 to 4 minutes. Turn it over and again let it crisp for several minutes before moving. So this is it for tonight. We have some olives on the table, tofu slices with ginger and garlic, grilled mushrooms with cheese, garlic bread, and we've got a Caesar salad and mango, Sharon fruit and cream for dessert. Give it a go with Lolo. When you subscribe, you can get notifications so you'll know whenever there's a new show.